Great to have you join me on TMI as we look at the 2023 political intrigues, the race and the national question. And discussing this, I have very distinguished guests with me, starting from my immediate left. I have Bishop Austin Igbasan, a public affairs analyst and senior pastor of Sword of Liberation Bible Church. Good to have you join us, Bishop.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
And next to him is Roy Orivabo. Roy Orivabo is a public affairs analyst and also is
the voice
of the commoners. And at the point you were a politician.
No, we must have a political interest.
All right.
Thank
Good to have you join me. All right, so let's start off looking at the issues, the race, looking at the 2023 polls and before us, and the primaries that really coming up shortly. And there seems to be a very, very intense heat in this whole issue. We have huge number of aspirants, you know, gunning for positions, and it makes one to wonder if these aspirants are really coming for patriotic reasons or for selfish reasons. What do you make of these developments, Bishop Austin?
Well, I think most of these aspirants, there are some of them that are going nowhere, they are not going too far. I think that some of them, because I look at, like I had a sitting governor that has done nothing in his state, that is one of those people who purchased 100 million nomination form and all the rest of it. I wonder, because I know that such a person knows that even in his own local government, they will not vote for him. So I begin to wonder, why would such person invest such amount of money? I also know that there are some of these politicians that they decided to send some of their surrogates out to purchase form so that they'll be able to crash delegates together to be able to have a headway in their pursuit. But I feel that for us to have this kind of number of people gunning for this position is not a good sign, because how many of the commoners, like we have just said here, can be able to afford 1 million, not to talk 100 million? A man that can afford 100 million to get a form, how did he get the 100 million? To start with, if you can get 100 million for a form, moving from one state to another, and we are using state resources to do all this, wherein the poor people, the commoner on the street, cannot be able to feed themselves 3 square meals. And I feel that that is not a good sign for us, because so many of them are also using as a negotiating point to be able to be relevant in the incoming government that is going to come. Maybe they are going to give you one office or give you one position where you will be so politically relevant in the next administration. I feel that having these crops of people coming up is not a good sign for us, because so many of them are going nowhere. That there are people that cannot even how would they have such amount of money to run what it takes? We are just talking of a starting point now, just having starting point. I feel that to me it is not a good sign.
Okay,
it is a sign of that the office is so lucrative and people want to come into that office because it has become so powerful. Like I give you an example, the president of Nigeria, anybody that is the president of Nigeria, there is no how the person can be poor in his life again and his unborn generation, because apart from God Almighty and maybe witches and wizards, the number 3 most powerful person in the surface of the earth is the president of Nigeria, because he decides what he wants to do, even against the constitution. He can look at your face and say, I don't like your beard, because of that you can go to jail, and you go to jail. Now nobody will ask him question.
Okay.
All the people that ought to ask him question will tell you that that is the right way to go. And you know, our constitution in Nigeria does not matter. Whoever sits down in that position is the person that matters. And that's why you see that even in judiciary, you see that the direction a sitting president is going, that is where the judgment and whatever they are going to give from the judiciary goes to the body language and the direction the person is going. I give you an example in this country where a judgment is brought up by judges who have used so many years on the bench, and they said certificate does not matter for you to become a president of Nigeria. And you also say, how do we arrive at that? Do we have such judgment in the days of Obasanjo? No. It only shows you that the direction of a sitting president is the direction where the government is going. Now we have men who are stronger than the institutions in Nigeria. You remember at a time in a bar conference where a sitting president tells them that national interest is more than the constitution of the country, and nobody rejected it. What happened after that? We had a sitting Mr. Chief Justice of Nigeria being removed from the back door. The guy that removed him today has a lot of allegations around him. He even went and do public assault. Today he's still sitting down, that young man in that position. Why? Because he came from one part of Nigeria, and the direction a sitting president look, that is where the direction of our law goes in there. You see people who tells you see senior advocate who tells you that today we have more than 45 senior advocates who have been on the case of certificate for over 7 years, and the case have never had a headway. Why? Because that is the direction the person that is sitting is looking at. Now we can have us who strike till Jesus come. It does not matter, because look at the people that are seated. How many of their children are in the public school? The man you call the chairman of Talakawas, how many of his children today are in Unibe, are in University of Lagos, University of Maiduguri? Why? Anything that you see, my father said something. He said, you don't go to market. Your wife didn't go. Your children didn't go. You said market not full. If you go, the population of market will be +1. So when you are not part of something, whatever happened there does not matter to you. If you are an academia and you know the value of education, you wouldn't allow other people to sit down at home. So that is the power that rested and is invested. You see, even matters happen that have to do with police force. The interest of anybody seated in that position of power is where it's going to go.
Okay. They say politics and religion seems to be the most thriving industries in Nigeria, and I don't know, but it was argued that the whole aspect of increasing the nomination and interest forms, for political parties, is to kind of reduce the traffic of aspirants, gunning for positions. But that seemed not to be holding sway. What's your thoughts in that, Roy?
Well, that position is neither here nor there, because mere increment of 100, just a mere 100 million naira is not a burden on those bourgeois. If you take your mind back since 1999 to those who are being powered, those who are there, it said that the contest and lost. The next 4 years they are coming back. Therefore, they are already aware of what is available there in terms of the resources. Therefore, everybody who want to be relevant in Nigeria need to be there. If you don't belong to the political class, you are nothing. If Nigeria is the only country that people are investing, you are going to contest, you are paying 100 million for an office for 4 years, you will not receive 50 million as salary. What are they telling you? That it's an open endorsement for corruption. If your salaries and what you are supposed to receive is not more than 50 million for 4 years, and you are paying 100 million, what is that telling you? That they have just endorsed corruption. Therefore, you and lad, we always sit down here and continue to lament. You understand me? As I said before, that Nigeria is not the headquarters of lamentation. We are all lamenting every day. That is what I'm telling you, and that is what is happening. And that is what
by your perception.
That is what is happening in the studio now. We are together, all of us are here. We have been lamenting since. We continue to lament. You got people lamenting. That is the way we find ourselves become one.
But you can say that, but you can't categorically say that it's not the headquarters of lamentation. Because
it's in Nigeria.
Statistics to know that.
I watch your news on daily basis. I know they don't listen to me. What you see there is lamentation. You go to social media, it's lamentation. I have never seen a country that the people are now level of lamentation, and even in hellfire, people don't lament in this level. You understand? They don't lament in this level. You know, I don't want to be there, but I'm aware with the record we have. Because Nigeria now, you look at Nigeria, the numbers of killings that happen every day in Nigeria. Killings have not been liberalized in Nigeria. Are you not aware? That killing does not take anything again. Somebody can just shoot and kill you, and nothing will happen. Therefore, it have been highly liberalized. Anybody can kill anybody now. That is where we found out. And when it happened, we go back and start lamenting. We have found it difficult to say the truth. We have found it difficult to say this is what is obtainable. What is happening in Nigeria cannot happen any other way. It talks about national strike just as I'm talking now, and the students, they say on strike now. Go to Sri Lanka, how many months have they been protesting there? Our students will just come and protest for 2 hours, block the road and go by. They must be able to take their destiny in their hand. Some of them were telling some of us to come and join the person. We will not join begin our time. We take our destiny in our hand. That's why our time was also very bad. But during ASU strike, we were always on the street, demanding for what is supposed to be done. That was done. But now, nobody is interested. The society is gradually cascading. The Nigerian system is going down every day. We are celebrating it. People will go and take 100 million. They are buying phone. And you know the salary they are taking. Somebody is telling me there is hope. My brother, hope is not in sight in this country. The only way hope comes is for you and I to take our destiny in our hand. And our destiny has been taken away from us. Therefore, the situation, lamentation continue in this country.
When you say taking destiny in your hands, I hope you're meaning, what you mean is doing the right thing, being law-abiding.
The right is not the destiny I'm talking about. We cannot longer even take the destiny in our hand. If you take it, because the destiny has simply taken it, you can't take what is available to you. ASU is on strike now. If those students, they have lost almost 5 months now. They cannot get it back in their entire life again. Don't be deceived. They can't get it again. Any one day you wait, you can't get it in your life because the life does not belong to you. The time management of life does not belong to you. You stress it out. And if you cannot make it, then forget it. 3 months in the life of a baby, you know what that means? That baby is supposed to be growing. And if you miss that 3 months, what happens? Perpetually remain, it will have a deficiency that will linger on its entire life. And that is what we are seeing. That's the reason why people say the destiny is no longer there. Where are you getting the destiny? For us giving you, they have since mortgaged, they are taking away from us. Nigeria is now in a state of acephalus where everybody continues to complain and lament. You are telling me it's not the headquarters? What could have been worse than this? That there is no day you don't, there is no day in Nigeria you don't hear of a minimum of 50 persons killed. Russia invaded Ukraine. Go and count the numbers of deaths that have happened there. I count the numbers of deaths that have happened. In Kaduna last week, they do a security review. You saw the numbers of persons that was killed under 2 weeks. But you can't
generalize, because if you say that there is no day you don't get at least 50 persons killed, I think that will be subject to criticism.
I am trying to be good with numbers.
I understand your point. The challenge you are saying is that the laws, we have the laws, but the enforcement of these laws seem to be we seem to be having a setback, a clock in the wheel of progress in that regard. I think that's what you are trying to champion. That we have the laws, but the law enforcement agents seem to be having some setbacks.
The society that work in the work, or go to any society that is doing well, it is their law that keep them together. I've said it before and I'll continue to say, when the theory of society was formulated by Thomas Hobbes, he later discovered this thing cannot work, there must be law. And since that law is so in Nigeria, it's not for we to just have the implementation of law. Any society that is working today, they implement their law, they believe in their law. Nigeria is the only country now that you break the law, where you are held responsible, you make a call. What are you calling for? People beat traffic in this town and they will be calling you. Somebody will be calling me. Come on now, I'm just a bit. I say, why will you beat traffic? Where are you heading for? Who's pursuing you? I'm just giving you that so that you know what is going on in this country. I saw somebody was in my phone told me that, I've just my pikin, they don't arrest my pikin. I said, what happened? He said, they see God for you. And I said, why? Okay. He said, my pikin up your brother, I cut it joint. That is the society we find ourselves. People are not justifying everything. And that's the reason why I said death has not been legalized in this country. All right. Nobody will ask you.
Well, okay.
Very unfortunate.
Okay, I'm ready for you, Babo. I want to ask the Reverend. I mean, if you listen to all the points he has made so far, and for someone who has been following the polity and how it has been heating up in recent time, I want to ask, with the discordant voices in town, the different opinions as to whether election will hold or not, or whether election will hold or whether it will not hold, because of the killing and the banditry and what have you that has become so rife in our national life. In your own opinion, as an analyst that has been following the system, do you think that 2023 that election will hold and Nigeria will still stand?
One major thing about this country is that God is so interested in this country.
Like God is not interested in that.
God is very interested. If what we have gone through in this country,
yes,
if it is not the special love of God, we are sitting down here talking of an accountant general that some of us raised to the we spoke about him to the roof, but our president in his own wisdom decided to give him elongation of his tenure. Even when we were shouting last year that this man is bleeding this country to nonsense, today we have over 120 billion. Not For consultancy alone, we are not talking of Nigeria is like the man of Gadarene that is cutting himself and is bleeding, and yet he's still alive. That this country is still in existence.
It's an act of grace.
I tell you, it's an act of grace of God, because even those who are stealing this country, they are still wondering that with what we are taking yesterday, this country is still existing. With what we took daily this morning, it's still existing. An accountant general of federation even check the minister of finance when they were talking of Kemi Adeosun that time. All of us knew all the fact and figure with Kemi Adeosun about the fact and the remittance from NNPC. As soon as this woman came on board, everything was laid to rest like a final funeral. I said it here last week on this same program that this government is fantastic. Because when you talk of 1 billion corruption in the morning, they help you to bring another 1 or 7 billion by 12 noon. By the time you get to 3 o'clock, you hear 14. So in Yoruba land, they said you use cost to cure cost. They use that theory that when you steal small thing and you are talking about it, you are still talking, they bring another one. I give you an example of NDDC. When they said the people that are seated took so amount of money, we set up some panel to come and investigate them. Those who have spent times 3 of what we said they should come and investigate. A man stole rabbit. You call somebody to investigate him. In the course of investigating rabbit, he stole elephant. And including the professor that did the drama and the rest of them, because even the prof that did the drama of bird flu, just shaking your neck and Nollywood something, what has happened to it? That matter has gone down the drain. All what Kemi Adeosun was fighting for. Don't forget that issue that came up of Kemi Adeosun, it was not because of the forgery. It was because of the stand of that young lady about the remittance from NNPC and the rest of the money she was talking about, and she threw that ground. But they used that scandal to silence her, and she was sent out of this country. After she left, the same government fighting corruption, what have they done about those facts and figures of Kemi Adeosun? Everything was laid to rest. After that, we had a fire that entered our dollar's place, a federal ministry of finance, and it was on fire. INEC was burning, this other one was burning, and everything was laid to rest. What was burnt in that place? Nobody heard about the amount of money. Now, what I'm saying is that grace of God is what is keeping this country. Because I say God is interested. Maybe because from day one of Jesus' birth to 30th, that he stayed in Egypt, in Africa. Maybe Nigeria has benefited from that kind of accommodation.
His presence.
Yes, the presence, because he stayed 33.5 years on earth, and he stayed more in Africa than every other country. And I think that is why African leaders, even with the way they misbehave, the grace of God has been able to keep the nation. Now, don't forget that there are 2 things involved about 2023. There are people that are working on their own to make sure it does not see the light of the day, wherein you will bring a suggestion of elongation or continuity. That is aside. Then there are other people who felt that all the organs that will control the election must do our bidding. Either the masses come out to vote or not. That's why you see some people, they are not careful to look at whatever security lapses that is happening anywhere. They know that even if you are in the mortuary, your thumb will come out to thumbprint on that day on your behalf, while you are not available to do it physically. So some people perfected their strategy that even if you said there is fire burning anywhere, what they are concerned about, check how many of the politicians are concerned about governance now. Everybody is coming out. It is the election. It is putting my surrogate. It is even those governors that a political calendar did not favor them. All what they want to do now is to put their surrogate in position. And the way they did it, because they knew that the institution in this nation does not matter. What matters is the man that is there. When it comes, my brother talks about making phone call now, because the system itself is weak. If you have a system that by the time you beat traffic, your camera has already snapped you, the paper, the slip is going to be sent by a postman to your house. You don't need to call anybody.
But don't you share blame in all of this? I mean, you are talking about system.
Now, the question is that there is no how you can remove human being from system. It's not a Heathrow Airport.
Yeah.
When you go in, you're supposed to take a ticket. But there's a system in place that computer collect the ticket from you. Even if your junior brother is the governor, Governor Baseki, and you want to enter airport, oh my God, Your Excellency, I won't enter. I must not pay. There is nothing like that because you are not talking to a human being. That system, the gate will never open for you. It will wait for you to make your payment before it will be lifted because the system does not respect status. That's why you see that in those crimes, so former prime minister can go to jail. But here, when anybody look at the issue of this accountant general, EFCC invited him, he's been arrested, leave that matter. You can be surprised that the man is sleeping with his girlfriend in EFCC custody, and he can still give back to as many children.
But you cannot.
All right, thank you.
Cannot
What I'm saying to you is
thank you, Austin. Thank you, Austin.
That is Nigeria.
You've articulated a point. I think what the essence of this is for us to look at ways in which we can really tackle these ugly incidents. Now, you've spoke smartly, intelligently, and you spoke about the fact that there are stronger men over institutions, whereas it should have been the otherwise. Now, we still have a huge lacuna, a huge gap, that we need to cover. And we keep talking about how to cover this gap. We have the issue again about power shift. People arguing that, well, this power shift should be shifted from the north to the south this time, and then you have a huge number of Southerners, gunning for this position. What exactly, or how exactly can we tackle this issue where we can have strong institutions over men? Roy.
To me, Nigeria factors is all encompassing. All of us must take responsibility for our irresponsibility. One, as in Nigeria, we have our mindsets. An average Nigeria believe that the next Nigeria does not have what it has. To me, let me interpret that person, let me overrun it. That is our mentality. That is the reason why we're in a society now that when your wife, you mobilize your wife to the market. When she comes back and you're asking how was the market today, you say, why you ask me? You say I give your money. Because it's a society that is a stranger to accountability. What we need first of all is to have a foundation for this country. Nigeria don't have a foundation. And that's the reason why some of us who are believing that the present administration of Buhari will be able to lay a foundation for us. But because of our age then, some of us were carried away where we were told that the man was a radical who believed in Nigeria would work. And some of us said, we want to support him to any level so that he can lay a foundation. Let's lay a foundation for this country. There's no foundation for this country. And you cannot build on nothing and expect it to start. One, we need national orientation. And all Nigeria must submit themselves for individual and collective orientation. We must change this our mindset. That once you don't have resources, you are poor people that play you. Let us not rate an individual like that in this country. Let all of us submit ourselves for moral scrutiny. Then you will not know that. Then after that, we will not pass through a process, the orientation process. Then we will not come out from there. Then the foundation of this country will not be now. There will not be superhuman being. All of us will not submit ourselves to the laws, to the rules, to the regulations that guide us. On the strength of that, Nigeria will not be going on gradually. What do I mean by that? One, as of today, there is no Nigeria, with due respect to all of us, that is not on the fast lane. There's no Nigeria, there's no sector of Nigeria that you will go, you will be happy. I just watched news just now talking about community leadership tussle. That's a community, everybody, they grow up together. They knew how, everybody we know ourselves, we know where you were going. How come it's not an issue over who's supposed to be? That's our orientation. You want to overshadow somebody you are not supposed to overshadow, then it will not result to chaos. By the time we have a foundation, a lot of us are not cleaning. You will not know that Nigeria will work. Where will you go to now? The religious aspect of this country has since collapsed. Are you not aware? If you go to the religion, you will find out that it's since collapsed. It took Christian Association how many days before they were able to protest until they said they don't even remember that they have a member that was killed as a result of blasphemy. It took them how many days? That is the society. Who are you going to meet? Where are you going to? Which institution will you go to that people will be fair? As well as an organization, can you now have a deal with them? We have seen reports. I was reading over the weekend how a lecturer went to go and wrote an exam for somebody somewhere, and he's a member. You know, these are things that happen. All of us, set up. There is nothing that is connecting us again. It's just like things are falling apart.
Okay, now they are home. Okay, but let's look at the anti-graft agencies, under the present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, the whole aspect about some officers, being arraigned or being accused, having allegations about their offices, huge, humongous amounts that they, as alleged, have taken. Isn't this a huge development that at least we are having an announcement of what is going on and officers being suspended? Don't you think this, again, under the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, seems to be a welcome development that will take us to where we really dream to be?
It's a mere media trial. It's a mere media trial. It has nothing to do with person's orientation. Cannot change anything. Because announcement have been made doesn't make it to something we carry now. I expect the investigative journalist to play out now. When you do a follow-up, and that will never happen. You know why? Because that is where we find ourselves, and that is who we are as a people. You are talking. Look, if President Muhammadu Buhari was genuine fighting corruption, what we expect by now, he will strengthen the laws. He will come with policy that will make EFCC to be more reliable and more productive oriented. That is how somebody set up an EFCC, ICPC in this country to fight corruption. What we expect as a master who wants to fight corruption, you look at what this a government you believe over the years that was a corrupt government, they were able to set up EFCC and ICPC. And you that say you want to fight corruption, you are not be able to come with no policy. It's not about, let us not look at what announcement you made. To fight corruption in this country, I don't look at an announcement, I don't look at what we just know, and that's the reason why we continue to have no superhuman being, and to the detriment of all of us. Why are you telling me you are a arresting person? Why are you telling me in a public gathering you are supposed to see it? It's an orientation. It's a policy. When you are saying it, nobody will tell you that this is when you do this, the law will catch up with you. You don't need further. And I just told you that, do you need to when you overdo traffic? Do you need to be told? Okay. Do you need to call anybody? How do we make Nigeria to work? We need strong laws. Those who will implement it. And that's the reason why when Nigerians are talking about zoning, because we have all faith, the system of faith, that is why we're now resorting to it's now my turn basis. That turn basis is now an opportunity for you to benefit from the natural. It's not because you want to. That is the reason of this zoning arrangement.
So to you, basically, the zoning arrangement won't even hold water.
No, it's not like
that.
Fulani man have been there. He must have collected something for his people. Let Okwuotuama man come, run river down so that he can also collect for his people. That is the fight. Nobody is telling me how do we make Nigeria to work. How will Nigeria work? You saw it in the United States. The president, as a husband, was after he finished the wife was. Nobody is talking. So nobody was talking. Do you know what? Institutions are working. People know what they are taking home and they are paying. As at the time President Muhammadu Buhari was coming as a president, as I tell you, we believe you go and check their account. That we have not been able to do in this country. And in the US, they do that you see, even Donald Trump just said, people knew what he received when he came. Everything, they were able to do a general overview of you, and they know that this is what happened. Okay. Do we have the ability to do that? We don't do that, and because the laws are not there.
Okay.
My pastor here said that once you are now a president, your generation will never. It's because of corruption. How much is it take off of a president? How much is it take off a president? There are many persons on the street in the US who receive more than the president.
Okay, I think we'll come back to you.
What is so special about being a president?
Okay. Anyways, Comrade talked about the fact that Nigeria needs a foundation. I mean, we need to start laying foundation and start from somewhere. Yeah. Now, sometime in 2014, there was this national confab that was conveyed by the former presidents, and a lot of agreement was reached at that confab. But from reports coming through now is that the reports that came out from that confab is been archived somewhere. I guess dust is already settled on it now. Can we say now the constitution that is currently in operation today, has it done more good to us as a nation or done more harm to us?
It has done more harm because even the...
I know you will say that.
It has done more harm than good because the intention of the constitution itself is faulty. The intention of those who wrote the Constitution is faulty, and that is why you see that the Constitution have favorites. If you check the Constitution of Nigeria, it is a constitution that was designed to favor subset of people. Check it very well. And I give you example. I can begin to pinpoint from there. My brother mentioned something about the system when Philip asked about anti-corruption.
Yes.
If Obasanjo can set up ICPC, I was talking to somebody in the ICPC yesterday, and I told the person, the officer, that if Obasanjo can set up ICPC and EFCC within 8 years and power them, if you remember in the days of Nuhu Ribadu, even when Tafa Balogun, former IG, was arrested, it was with a chain in his hand. But you see Abakari today, he goes to court with his wife. They are going on vacation. Even the wife, or even continue from the Nollywood action of the prof. They acted that one collapsed there inside. Now, we are talking about corruption.
Yes.
If an IG in the day of Obasanjo that happens to be a Yoruba man, that the man supposed to say, this is my brother, was in chain to court, and today Bakari goes to court as if he's going to Dubai with his wife on vacation, and they go, and what is happening? Why has Nigeria not extradited the guy there? Now, we expected that when I didn't vote for President Buhari, and I said it in different fora.
I voted for him.
I didn't vote for him. You are. I'm a man of God. I don't tell lies. And I said, because the reason why I did not vote, I made my reason said on this station that time in 2014, because what many people didn't know, few of us knew, and we said this is where the country is going. So many people said God told them this one will take them to promised land. Today I asked many pastors who said, because the difference between a pastor and prophet is different.
What were your reasons why you did not vote for him then?
I voted for Goodluck Jonathan because I knew some of these things that happened.
Yes.
I told them that 23 things will happen during this government, and 22 has happened.
Oh, 22 has happened.
So with me, you've been vindicated.
Yes, everybody.
By not
Those
voting.
who called me name that time, they are now ashamed. Even men of God who are older than me, because the office of a prophet is different, and that was why I stood my ground then. I told them in church, anybody in this church can vote for anybody, but this is my direction. Look at what God told me about what is going to happen. And I went to Raleigh, and that's why I told anybody can check it out in INEC. I did not vote. The 2 times I did not vote for, because of what I knew, because of what I saw that is going to happen. Today we are seeing it happen. In this forum, they asked me a question, and I asked them. I said 2 people are contesting. One said, if my intention, my ambition does not want anybody's blood. Another person said, if I didn't win, the dog and the baboon will be soaked in blood. Today, can we say we are not seeing blood? Now, I expected that when this man come on board, what he's supposed to do is to set up a court, a special court that will handle anti-corruption, and give that court a marching order that every corrupt cases will stay for only 90 days. Nothing more than that, so that all the evidences will not be watered down, the investigator will not be corrupted by the person he is investigating. But what has happened after that time? We have seen today that I can tell you from here, because of time, I can quote 25 corrupt cases, starting from Babache Lawa. It was people like us that shouted to the roof about the grass cutting ministry, and the rest of them that happened that time. When that one happened and we shouted, Babache was sent out. His cousin was brought in to become the NTF because it's their family chieftaincy title. Now, if I did something wrong in a place and you bring my own junior brother to come and take over from me, I think he's going to prosecute me and send me to jail. Where has that case gotten to till today? Then I begin to mention cases, other cases that are glaring, that have to do with corruption. And at the end of the day, people are given amnesty now. People that were corrupted and they were jailed, they were given amnesty by the same person who is an anti-corruption fighter. Now, how do you defend that one? Under this same government brought minor that all of us shouted to the roof that was always on his way to prison. When minor ran away, they brought him with a private jet back to this country. The minor's case, where has he got into till today? Now, I can quote for you the issues of corruption under this government that was swept under the carpet. And before you know, another one comes up and you begin to talk about that one. Look at NDDC. Has anybody been called to question in NDDC today? Has anybody been sent? Is anybody in NDDC among those who perpetrated this act now behind the bar? Is any one of them going to court? I want to ask you something. Okay, any of them going to court now that this matter we are going to court over it because you were alleged and Now, how do you explain anti-corruption when Kachiku reported my late Banti, the GMD of NNPC, that the guy single-handedly award oil well and do all that, and write the memo and drop it on the president table, and he stays 60 days without the president checking over it. When the matter got to the public, how did it happen? Kachiku was made to apologize to the man, the late man, and the man said, "You are not my boss. That the act that established in the NNPC does not recognize minister of state." And it was the president that made Kachiku to become chairman of the board, who the man supposed to report to. Now, so when you talk of the constitution, the constitution was designed. I tell you today we have Sharia court. We have people that go to Sharia officers that are retired, and they are paid with the tax money. Do we have the ecclesiastical court of Christian, where Christian can be taken to? That money that is used to pay the gratuity of those who were in that court, who stand either as a prosecutor or as a clerk or as a judge and retired, is it a money from what part of the region? It's from the Niger Delta. Now, as the Christian be allowed to have an ecclesiastical court where you have a reverend father as a judge and you have a pastor as a prosecutor and all that? How do you explain that one?
Okay, thank you.
When we are talking of the constitution, constitution is the foundation, and we need to do so much about this constitution that it has to be redefined, because the mindset of those who set up the constitution was to favor some set of people. I give you an example. Kano State was created with Lagos at the same time. Kano has been divided 3 times. And in the National Assembly today, you have 9 senators from the old Kano. We still have 3 senators from Lagos. How do you explain that?
Okay, let's look at the party primaries that are about to take place in the major political parties, and the presidency, of course, satellite has been beamed on that aspect. And there's this huge number of aspirants, that are coming up. And there seems to be the fact that among these aspirants, there could be a messiah, that will help this country, salvage this country. But again, the consensus arrangement, some say it could be another setback, because it depends on who the consensus arrangement favors, to a point where you may not even have a Southern even coming up as a party candidate, to a point where you may not even have the right round peg in the round hole, to fly that party ticket. Now, what do you think can be done in this regard? Because we have the consensus arrangement that is already a setback, in terms of having a level playing field. Or do you think differently?
I think they have a material way you can pick a candidate according to the Electoral Act. It's a 3-way. So that through consensus, etc., through the delegates, or through direct. Yeah. Then whichever one you believe can fly for you. These are internal arrangements within a political party. The good thing about it is that they are trying to reduce or limit utilization of funds in terms of the body that an individual will take. That is why they are looking at the consensus. And that consensus, the bad thing is that depend on where the president just will come from. Once he's the leader of the party.
Because the consensus seems to appeal to them more.
Yes, once the president pronounced that everybody go and kill behind the raw river boy, I must stop people. And these are some of the issues we need. That we jettison competency, that we jettison character, that we jettison people have the capacity to deliver this country. And that's my fear in all this arrangement. And because the people, when you talk about the aspirants, because of their side, people have their many. It is because, not to forget that the system of government and governance in Nigeria will also be reduced. That people now find out that it's not a rocket science to be a president. That you can be there and be there, nobody know whether you are there. You can be on top without any action.
Ceremoniously.
Therefore, that is the reason why everybody now says, even when you know that you don't have the strength to even do it. So is it not for me to be there? Am I going to carry cement? Am I going to work in a factory? That is how we have degenerated. And I've noticed to some persons that if you don't have the ability to go to factory, you will not also have the intellectual ability to think about your country. You understand me? And those are the issues where I say, allow them. People want to jump. In Edo State, we have 24 House of Assembly, about 160 something are contesting. What does that show to you? One, the system they have opened on the way, people want to be there, and you also agree with me, quite very fundamental. Nobody should deny it. One of the lucrative business in town in Nigeria is politics. And once you are in politics, you already know that you are close to the source. And once you are close to the source, you are already a bourgeois. Being politics alone, you already at 50% you have secured yourself. One, the resources is there, the power is there. What are you? You just need the grace of God, and the grace of God is always with all of us.
It's constant.
It's constant. Since Jesus first joined in Africa, you know. And the issue we need to know about this was arrangement, all the method they want to use. You now say, let's go to the delegate issue. Delegate issue is also an issue. I did the research, mind you, we did this. I found out that 96% of delegates, they are not bothered about the holistic view of Nigeria. They are bothered their take-home pay.
Okay, what they get back.
You know something? That you want, you are as a delegate, they are calculating what are you bringing back? What am I getting this Abuja I'm going to? They are not interested that who is going to make ASU to resume immediately? Who is going to talk about this light we do? Who is going to fix it for us? How come refinery is an issue to us? That a single one businessman is building a refinery somewhere. He can run it over 3 years. Nigeria has a country over 50 years. We cannot build a refinery. Nobody will be thinking in that direction. That is my fear about this delegate level. And when they get to they book into their hotel, they check into their hotel, they get their envelope. Yeah. We have been told, their rumor has it that some of them will receive in dollars. And by the time you know the volume, what dollar can do now. Any dollar you take, you put in your pocket, by the time you go, you change it. You are not bothered about the generation of people. And that is the reason why some of us, whichever way you are taking off from, we will continue to remain as the headquarters of lamentation.
Perpetually. Yes. Because you just made mention of the consensus. Yes. There seems not to be respite by what you are saying. Yes. Then the mention of the delegates issue, yes. The indirect, there seems not to be respite. And even the direct is not paving way.
These are my fear about this. And that's the reason why I look at the whole scenario.
Okay.
I look at the scene, and I said, no, I'm not seeing solution yet. I'm not seeing that though. I'm not seeing personalities with due respect to all of them who can serve as a panacea to the issues that have bedeviled us over the years. You understand me? Because one, when you were made through a consensus, you will know very just now the APC as a political body did their convention where they elect their chairman. You see, those who we knew who
the consensus arrangement.
Those who have been mobilizing, campaigning around, you know, when the time of consensus arrived. So persons who were not even willing to contest, they're going to work them on their place and say,
we don't know where. I was discussing with Dennis as we opened the show this morning. We don't know where this whole issue of humongous amount of money for forms will lead us to, because I was telling him that it's possible that huge number of persons that really bought these forms with huge amount of money, may end up in health facilities.
No, why you are yes. If you are talking, don't be bothered about the amount. When you are bothered about amount, that is also my concern. Why are you looking at 100 million in a corrupt country as a huge amount? We just told you now somebody wants to go individual and be alleged at 80 billion. If you decide to bring 20 million for people to buy for, do you know how many people will buy for with 20 billion? You do that calculation. Therefore, don't be bothered about the amount. Nigeria is a corrupt society. We must accept it. If Nigeria put that...
the aspect of corruption is not peculiar to Nigeria. Don't forget that.
We are fantastically corrupt. Let us not run away from this. These are the issues.
Okay, but
why will you go and invest on the business you know you are not making profit? What is the stake of a president for 4 years? I want
Austin Basan to also throw light in this direction. We have an electoral umpire. We have the anti-graft agencies. Yeah. Now, shouldn't there be a searchlight on political parties? Shouldn't there be a searchlight on how, activities are being done in the parties to reflect democracy, not to harm democracy?
The question is that the appointment of the INEC chairman, in my place, they say you are looking at the hunch at the back of someone. You are not looking at the leg. That is a parable that person you are talking of the hunchback, you don't look at the leg, it started from the leg. It's not really from the back. Now, in the history of Nigeria, right from Fedeco time to date, it is only this government that broke the law that established that a sitting INEC chairman cannot come from the same region with a sitting president. If you want me to take you back 1999, Justice Ephraim Apata of blessed memory from here Obasanjo was the one that midwife and came on board. After that, Dr. Ebe Gubadia. After that one, Professor Maurice Iwu, who is an Igbo man, and was the one that midwife Yaradua to come on board. And after that time, when Yaradua came on board and Jonathan came on board, he appointed Jega, who happened to be from the north. But when this president came on board, he appointed somebody against the act that established that organization. Why did they design it like that? So that the umpire will be an unbiased umpire. He will say, this is my person. Oh, we are from the same religion. We are from the same place. Obasanjo have the power to appoint a Yoruba man to be an INEC chairman instead of appointing Dr. Ibe Gubadia. So what was the intention of breaking that law? That is the first question you ask yourself. What was the intention of breaking that law, of bringing somebody that had to be a northerner? Now, look at it side by side with the actions of the INEC. Have you taken note that almost all the elections that were conducted, there must be a fire in card reader department, and that place must catch fire, even including those states.
So what you're saying that is pointless if we look into that direction.
Now, if you are looking at it, if you see what late Yaradua did, he said the election that brought me to power is not a flawless election. It's not a election you can be proud of. And the man set up a template so that we will begin to get it right from our electoral life. And that was why the template of Justice Ways was brought on board. And from there, when the man died, Jonathan started from there and introduced the card reader, signed some act into law, 48 hours to his own election, that eventually removed him. Do you know what we are pumped into electoral acts in the first in 8th National Assembly, with all the money, the allowance given to all the honorable members that sat down? Even the sitting APC government have the highest number of senator and National Assembly member. But when it got to the president said the time is not enough. He threw it off. Do you know the irony? The taxpayer money that have gone into it, people have done public hearing, people stay in hotel, the economic backwardness that refusal has given to us, and it has, the same thing has played back again. The same president who signed petroleum industrial bill and complained of some part of it has refused to sign this one again. Now, if with the arrangement that was on ground, INEC has already purchased what will make them, they asked for money was made available to purchase what will make them to be able to pass information and results without all this logistic problem. But why was it hampered? What was the intention of stopping it? If the way Jonathan signed card reader and signed those things that were attached to Electoral Act, so that we can have a fantastic election where nobody will see. If you look at 2015, the hijacking of ballot box was not there. But if we come back to 2019, you'll be able to see that there are pockets of troubles in different places. Why? Because the automatic release of results that ought to be done then was not done. Now, what I'm saying is that, you see, there is no nation that can grow without we accepting our personality, accepting that there must be a correction. In that history will judge Yaradua well, that they said the election that brought me to power. You remember our president, when they interviewed him, if you lose this election, what will you do? In the day of Jonathan said, I will return to my village. What the president said, he said, I will congratulate myself.
Okay, you speak well of Jonathan being a Satan.
Yes. Are you saying? It's not about Satan. It's not about Satan. It's not about Satan. Don't know. What I'm saying is that I'm just talking of, we talk about PVC today.
Yes.
You refer to Jonathan. I'm talking about policy. You talk about ATM today. Yes. You can point to his government. But I want to talk, any government that does not have a policy that will outlive you. You say never to run, not too young to run. You told the youth not to run with.
Okay, before you come in, let me quickly ask. Do you believe that a Southern emerging could be the game changer?
Say, coming on board now. I believe that I'm a champion of it is a gentleman agreement. Okay. We cannot get to this level now and say there is nowhere in this country you cannot get the right people. I give you an example. 27 security service chief only did not have the most brilliant people to give us 25. Now how do you put that ratio side by side with everybody having a sense of belonging? So what I feel is that it is not a gentleman's agreement. Let it come back to the south. Even if the Southerner man is half dead, let him come. What I'm saying is that Let him, sir.
As long as it comes to the south. That was what you said.
That was the point you made earlier.
Mr. Roy, now are you telling me now that Southerner does not have brilliant people?
No, with the adjective.
No, what I'm saying.
Sir, you praise the adjective on it.
Even sir, sir,
Is that the adjective want to live for?
My brother. Somebody can be on wheelchair. A president can be on wheelchair.
Okay, Roy,
I think Nigeria well.
Thank you. You've made your point. You've made your point. Let Roy come in here.
No, I didn't want you to take it that I said, even though if it is a dead man, in as much as a Satan. What I'm saying is that today we have 25 security servicemen who came from one part of Nigeria. Does it mean that Urogovan does not have somebody in the military?
That is not the issue. You tell me the benefit of Jonathan presidency to South.
I think that will be in the next discussion. That will be in the next discussion.
What do you want to talk about?
Jonathan,
I just met
he felt woefully disappointed his performance was that was we work against him.
Okay.
I think this one now.
He has not repented.
Thank you.
Do you have this kind of announcement on dead body during Jonathan's time that even killing of people is not an issue today? Nobody, when you hear news that 50 people.
Thank you, Austin Basan. Bishop Austin Basan, you've articulated your points. Thank you.
During Jonathan's time, people were killed.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Roy.
Are changing, characters are changing. Jonathan cannot even run away from the problem we are facing in this country.
What he must also take responsibility.
Thank you. I think there's the much we can take. Big thanks, Roy. Big thanks, Bishop Austin Basan, for taking our time. I'm afraid there's the much we can take on this discussion. As you can see, it's a very heated debate here, and issues concerning politics, basically the 2023 polls, as we heard there, is what everyone wants to talk about. Well, we'll take a short break. It's still This Morning on ITV.